Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all well, having a lovely day so far, beginning of a new week. I don't know if I'm going to be posting this video before this evening, so by the time you see this, it won't be good morning, it will be good evening. You can't see my whole face because I'm bending down. I wanted to show you something. But first, welcome to my new subscriber. That's Rob from Rob's Yard. Nice to have you along. And I have been checking your garden. Very nice indeed. Also a thank you to Gardens for Life in County Roscommon, Ireland. I had a giveaway and I received from them my bulbs on Saturday, tubers on Saturday. I'll show you them in a minute, but first, remember the yacon I harvested and the plantlets for next year I just shoved on the shelf saying, oh, I'll deal with that another day. And I forgot to deal with that another day. And I lost most of them. They didn't like the cold that had been in the frost that we had. And so this is practically, I have a few little plantlets like that left. They look very sorry for themselves. They're still alive and there is still some green on them showing and they're not too spongy. So I'm hoping if I plant them on today into pots and keep them indoors on the windowsill, that they will recover and still grow. Otherwise I've lost all my yacon and I've kept these plants going for quite a few years now. So I'd be sorry to lose them all. So hopefully if I plant them on today, I'll get some compost while I'm out this morning. And I'll put them indoors on the windowsills and hopefully they'll recover. So that's because I had been so very busy that, not really procrastinating out of laziness, just not getting around to it, I've almost lost them. So yeah, right now, thanks to Martin and Bianca from Gardens for Life, my mashua tubers that they gave to me, they sent, was very kind of them. Thank you for the giveaway. I really appreciate it because I've been wanting to grow these for so long. I'm so excited. I've never grown these before. It's been on my wish list to get, but not a priority because everything needs to be prioritized. So if it's not essential, then I have to leave it on my wish list. And thanks to Martin Bianca, I now have some of my wish list fulfilled. Okay, so there's a couple of varieties in here. I think there's 4 or 5 because 2 of them look different shape and color than the others that look the same color, if you know what I mean. Okay, so there's a red one here. There are loads of different varieties. If you want to check it out, I think the Real Seed Company does them as well, or there's lots of places that if you put in mashua you will find a lot of them, but so there's quite a few varieties and they sent me quite a few actually. I'm really impressed. Okay, so there's a red one, there's a very pale almost white one with purple eyes, 3 of those. Then there's 2 of these little stubby kind of apricot colored ones, and then there's some longer ones, not quite the same depth of apricot color, more of a like a yellowy color. I haven't cleaned them properly, so I can't see the color of the eyes. I don't think they've got any color to the eyes on there. No, they don't. But so I'm very excited to grow them. Mashua is a relative of nasturtium, and of the plant you can eat the leaves, the flowers and the tubers. They're mostly grown for the tubers, but you can eat every part of that plant. It's like a trailing thing. It grows a bit like the morning glories. It just it rambles over things. It can become a very big plant and it can grow. I've seen one in Edible Landscaping's gardens. It reached the top of the 2-story house by the guttering. That's how tall it was. But it can ramble or climb wherever you want it to. I don't think it's a climber per se as much as a rambler, but it has got absolutely beautiful flowers. I mean, by the leaves you can tell immediately it's a nasturtium type plant. But yes, that's an exciting one. So tubers, unusual edible plants. Very good. I'm going to be excited about that. And the other tuber they sent me was 4 of these. These are little ochre plants. They look like clovers. They look like 4-leaf clovers. So they're also a ground covering plant. You can eat the leaves, and I think the tubers as well. I'll double check that. Don't take my word for it, check it out, but I know you can eat the leaves. I'll double check that to make sure, but I just loved the fact that they look like clovers and that they're ground cover and they can just spread. I think where I have seen them is in a polytunnel though, so I don't know if they'll do all right in my garden. I'll grow them in pots first to make sure I get a lot more tubers from them, and then when I've got enough tubers, I will eventually move some around by the cherry tree to cover the ground there as well. It'll help keep weeds down. I'll find other pots where I could grow them. Maybe, I don't know if they make good companions for grapes, but I might just put them by the grapes to cover the ground there and protect that. You know, it's always best to keep the soil covered, and strawberries are fantastic at doing that, but also anything that's a ground cover like this. So I will be looking to get more tubers out of that and cover the ground wherever I can with them, and hopefully, I mean, the grape is in a south facing corner anyway, so hopefully it'll survive there. So there you are, that's lucky me. I feel very blessed to have that, very fortunate, and there's such generous and kind people around to share things, so I'm grateful for that. It's one thing ticked off my wish list. Hopefully the yacon will survive, because that's another unusual edible that I like to grow. I've been doing it for how many years now? That was 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 or 10 years I've been growing yacon, and it's always an exciting thing. Very few, if any, pest problems at all, except for slugs. I've had slugs, but not much. They like the top of the plant more. So yeah, slugs, I have come to discover from Arania, actually have a purpose, and I understand that purpose very well. It just doesn't. It'll be a love-hate relationship with slugs, I'm afraid. I just have to be more careful and vigilant and tactical. Yeah. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to do, is welcome the new subscribers, show you the new tubers I have that I'll be planting, and the rescuing of my yacon, and to say that this week is going to be a very, very busy week. Unfortunately, not to do with home garden and crafts. And we've got some rain today for the first time, and it's not a proper rain, but it's been a constant drizzle to the point where the ground is damp. And there's dripping from, if you can hear it in the background, I'm sure you can, this phone picks up a lot of background noise. No buttons, off you go, missy. So there's been enough rain to drip from the gutters into the downpipe and the water butt. We haven't actually had any rain for a few weeks now. We've had very, very fine misty stuff overnight, but the days have been generally very dry. We seem to get very dry spells and then absolute downpours for a week or two, and then nothing for a few more weeks again. So, but this is fine. It's still fairly warm. Things are still sprouting that shouldn't be sprouting just yet. I have seen hedgerows with blossoms on things like the hawthorn and the sloe, and I'm sure, I mean, it's the hawthorn I think that have been flowering, and they're not supposed to be flowering yet till at least February or March, I'm sure of it. But things are flowering. Maybe it's not, maybe it's just a different plant that flowers naturally this time of the year that just looks like a hawthorn. I've never got out the car to check. You can't exactly do that on some roads. So yeah, but in my garden anyway, things are sprouting that normally wouldn't be sprouting just yet. So let's hope that they survive whatever frost comes between mid-January to mid-March, because that's usually in South Wales if we're going to get any frost. And we've had frost already since December occasionally, but so frost is more common, but snow is not. And if we're going to get any, usually it's kind of February, March time, and not for very long either, but it's enough to kill off some plants. So let's hope that things have survived long enough and will be tough enough to survive that, even if they've sprouted a bit. Remember I posted that video with the cat and the catnip in the front garden? it seems there's a cat that's discovered the catnip in the back garden as well. That same cat from the front garden pulled up another plant because I just left the other one out. I didn't replace it. So it found one of the other ones. I've only got one other one. So we did chase it off yesterday because I thought, well, it's entertaining and I've had a ball laughing and enjoying the cats, enjoying the catnip. But I'm growing it specifically not just for entertainment purposes with watching the cats, but for specifically towards making some tinctures or extracts rather, to be used as a herbal medicine just for ourselves. So I need to preserve some of my catnip. I'll have to put some kind of little cage around it to stop the cats pulling it up. I'll leave 1 or 2 plants for them because of course I want them to have some joy in my garden. I love nature, to not just find what they need in my garden, but find some joy in the space as well, not just for us. So I'll leave 1 or 2 plants for them, but I shall try and make sure that they can't pull them up. Some pins or something somehow, some U-pins into the ground that they can't pull up. Although they get so wrapped up in the catnip, I'm sure they won't even know, and they'll probably find the strength to pull it up and all. That'll be interesting. It's chilly, but it's not too cold. So when it's damp, it's slightly warmer. It's when it's dry that it gets much colder. Been walking the dog at night again for the past couple of weeks. Needing to get back into that. She needs the exercise. We need to get some exercise because we sit for hours working on crafts and driving around, and so we thought just to help us keep moving a bit more to counter some of the pain that we suffer from naturally anyway, we just keep moving. So we've been walking the dog more. But yeah, not much to happen this week in the garden or the house or for the crafts, although I have a lot of stuff doing. He's in the shed right now, actually busy being creative. But as far as painting and finishing goes, I don't think I'm going to get any done this week. There's a lot of travelling to do, babysitting, car to be serviced and prepared for service. So it's going to be one of those weeks where I'm going to feel a bit bitter by the end of the week that I've not actually achieved much. But I have to find comfort in that. Even though I've not achieved much to do with our self-reliance, I'm still serving family and I am looking after them, because I have to get some perspective. I just get so frustrated that out of 7 days a week I get not even 2 days to work. So some reshuffling and prioritizing needs to happen there, and all-round self-reliance for quite a few people, not just ourselves, because some people's lack of self-reliance is impacting on ours. So we're all connected, and whatever affects one affects another. So I think we need to have some conversations, and communication's not very good for most people. So treading lightly, but needing to sort that out. Otherwise, we're just not going to reach our goal. We're not going to be free. We're not going to be resilient. We're not going to be self-reliant. And that would be detrimental to my own mental health. I need to be able to feel that we're being proactive in looking after what needs to be done. So there you go. Not meaning to share too much personal stuff. I'm sorry. But there you go. I'm sitting here looking at the spinach. Right, that's my perpetual spinach. A bit slow right now because of the time of year that it is, but it's still growing, still putting out new leaves, and I only pick 1 or 2 from each one every other day for smoothies and stuff, just to keep them going. I don't want to completely deplete the plant. Actually, this is the first time I've actually sat in the garden since sometime in December, early December. So I'm really enjoying it, sitting out in the garden. And this is why we built the pergola, the covered pergola, so we would have somewhere to sit outdoors all weathers. And I'm making use of it. I'm really enjoying it. So I hope that you find somewhere to enjoy your outdoor space, whatever the weather. Even if it's just a balcony, make it a place that feels like a little bit of a haven. So I'm going to be off now. Got loads to do. I'm procrastinating a little bit. That's why I'm still chatting. Getting on for 16 minutes. So I'd better get a move on, hadn't I? I just want to stay out here for a bit longer. Even the dripping water, I'm sure will get on my nerves eventually, but it just feels... The birds are singing. That's another thing, actually. They're not so noisy right now. But probably because it's a bit misty and rainy and they're just cutched up to keep warm. But in the past few days, since last week, the noise from the birds has been phenomenal. Like, they're all excited. They know spring is coming and that it'll be in full swing very soon. So they were very, very noisy, more than usual. There's a lot of excitement in nature. And it feels, because it's not bitterly cold and it's not frosty and dry, it feels a bit autumnal or early spring. That's what it feels like. More spring because it's not so windy. There's a breeze, but it's not heavy. Absolutely lovely. Okay. I shall see you soon. Have a good week, everyone. Bye.